Good evening. Good evening. It gets deeper every time, trust me. Welcome, everyone. Good evening and welcome to Springboard To Opportunities annual Night of Storytelling. I'm Ira Murray and I'm honored to serve as the 2025 chair of the board for Springboard To Opportunities, and I am so deeply grateful that everyone has decided to join us tonight. The art of storytelling has been honed by cultures and communities since the onset of human history. Through writing, spoken word, inscriptions, illustrations, song, dance, and other forms of communication, storytelling is a powerful tool that can captivate, inspire, and connect all of us. It is the foundation of how we communicate, share ideas, and make sense of the world. And at its core, storytelling is the art of conveying experiences, emotions, and messages through the use of narrative. It taps into our innate human desire to understand the world through the lens of personal experience. When done well, storytelling can transport us to new places, introduce us to fascinating characters, and evoke a wide range of emotions. Moreover, storytelling is a crucial component of our cultural identities. Through the sharing of stories, we preserve traditions, pass on knowledge, and foster a sense of community. It is a way of connecting with our roots and understanding our place in the larger human experience. And in today's world, where we are constantly bombarded with information and technology, the art of storytelling is more important than ever. In a time of increasing disconnection and isolation, the ability to create meaningful narratives and share them with others can be a powerful force for bringing people together and fostering a greater understanding of the human experience. When I first connected with Springboard, I was struck by how deeply rooted the organization is in real relationships. Radically resident-driven. Raise your hand if you've heard that before. It's not just Springboard's tagline. It's the organization's DNA. It's not top-down programming. It's about seeing people and fully listening to their experiences, trusting their choices, and supporting their vision for their families and their communities. Tonight is the extension of that same spirit. The stories you will hear from these beautiful women in the front. She raised her head. I love it. I love y'all. I love it. I love it. I love it. The stories you will hear from these beautiful women up front aren't just moving, but they're necessary. We're in a moment where big decisions are being made about what's possible for people's futures, for families, communities, and justice in this country. And too often, the people closest to those issues are left out of the conversations. Well, not tonight. These stories will remind us that we have a lot to learn if we're serious about equity and justice. As a board, I'll say that we are proud to support this work. Not because it's easy, because it's not, but because we believe in the people leading it. We believe that change happens when we center those voices, trust that wisdom, and invest accordingly. So thank you for being here, and thank you for showing up with open hearts.
Good evening. My name is Sarah Stripp, and I am the Director of Socioeconomic Wellbeing at Springboard To Opportunities. Tonight, I have the privilege of introducing you to our 4 speakers for the evening, Javonica, Amaya, Joni, and Amber. Each year, as I get to work with our participants to write and shape their stories for this event, I love getting to witness the common themes that weave throughout each of their stories, but also the details and particulars that make each of their stories unique and distinctly their own. And this year was no exception to that. We asked each of our storytellers this year to reflect on the theme of care. Throughout the night, you'll hear stories about caring for their children, their extended families, their communities, and themselves. You'll hear about the harmful systems and policies that we have created that often function as roadblocks and barriers rather than pathways or tools for our mothers to be able to care for their families as they want to. You will hear about the challenges of trying to be a mother, a daughter, a sister, a caretaker, an employee, a student, and so many other roles all at the same time with limited resources and help. And you'll also hear stories of mothers who are unwilling to compromise their dreams, even when the things seem stacked against them. You'll hear stories of women who know what they and their families deserve, and that is the same dignity, trust, and care that are afforded to others, and they are not afraid to say so. And you'll hear emphatically throughout each of these stories that these mothers know that their income does not determine their character, and they are tired of being treated as if it does. So without further ado, I will turn it over to the women who you all came here to hear from tonight. Javonica, Amaya, Joni, and Amber will come up one after another in the order that you have listed in your program. So please join me in starting by welcoming Javonica Owens to the stage to kick us off.
Good evening. My name is Javonica Owens, and I am a mother of three, 2 boys and a newborn girl here in Jackson, Mississippi. Caring for my children means so much to me, but I will be honest, it can really feel challenging when everything feels like it's stacked against you. I don't consistently receive child support for my oldest child. I've worked a lot of different jobs, especially plant jobs like Sanderson Farms or Amazon. They were okay, but they're jobs that all require consistent transportation because of how far away they are. When I wasn't able to keep my car, I wasn't able to keep my job and lost all of my income. I don't know if people always understand how important having reliable transportation is to take care of your family. It's not just getting to and from work, it really is everything. I couldn't put my son in extracurricular activities. I wasn't able to take them to the Children's Museum or other little places we used to go as celebrations for good weeks in school. It even impacted my ability to consistently receive benefits. I tried applying for a temporary assistant for needy families or TANF, but the caseworker told me right up front that if I didn't have reliable transportation to get to a job or the required community service every day, I shouldn't move forward with receiving the support. I could get cut off for missing just 1 day of work, no matter the reason, and that would affect my other benefits like SNAP. I couldn't pay for gas in a car without a job, but I couldn't get the support I need to get gas in a car without a job. It's just a frustrating cycle. I had started looking for a work-from-home job while I figured out my transportation situation, and during the last months of my pregnancy, because I knew the physical demands of a plant job were going to be too much while I was trying to keep my baby healthy and safe. I actually received an offer letter in November from a company and signed all of my paperwork. They just said they needed to complete a background check and I could start. I kept waiting and waiting, but nothing came through. They would call and have me renew my paperwork and say the background check company was just really backed up and I just had to wait a little bit longer. But I didn't have any more time to wait. My daughter was going to be born in February, and I knew I would need to be on family medical leave after having a C-section for 6 weeks. I gave up waiting at that point. But I'm thankful for Magnolia's mother's trust that it started in January. In a lot of ways, it was right on time. With the lack of child support payments and the work-from-home job giving me the runaround, it was a lifeline to get me through the last stages of my pregnancy and initial postpartum. It was so different than other programs like TANF or SNAP. I actually felt like I was being treated as a human being. I've also been able to get a car again, which means I can look for other jobs and get to be the mom I want to be again, like putting my son back in baseball and just being able to get around more. I also have a lot of goals for this year. During COVID, I finished my medical assistant degree, but I ended up being 2 points away from passing the final test to be certified. I was really discouraged at the time, but I feel like I'm in a place now where I can try again. I've started studying and plan to retake the test this year. I'm really hopeful that this can land me a more stable and fulfilling job and offer me some pathways for growth in the medical field. I also recently started the Business and Entrepreneurship Fellowship with Springboard, which I'm really excited about. I already have an LLC for my nail business, and I'm hoping this will give me the tools and skills I need to put my business out there and start growing my client base. It can be challenging to balance work and home life, especially when you're trying to make enough money to get by. My son once said, "Mom is always working, always trying to make that money." I do want to make enough money to take care of them and give them the life they deserve, but I don't want that to come at a cost of not spending time with them either. That's why I make such a point of talking to them while we're driving and doing little things like getting ice cream and helping them with their homework. I want them to know they always have my attention too. When I was younger, my dad was my biggest supporter. He showed up for me for all of my events whenever he could make it. And he was there. When he was there, he was always the loudest in the room. During my fifth grade promotion, when I was getting ready to walk across the stage, he cheered so loudly that he scared me. He was my best friend and my biggest cheerleader. As I got older and started expressing interest in cosmetology, he would tell all his friends that they should come to me to get their nails done. He always believed in me, which has given me the confidence to pursue my own dreams and goals. I lost my dad last year, this month, which has really been difficult, but I'm trying to carry on his legacy with my own kids now in the best way that I can. Caring for them and showing up for them at baseball games or choir concerts is one way I do that. It's another reason I'm really grateful that I have a car again. I can always show up for them in their events. I want to leave a legacy for my children just as my dad did for me. One way I see that happening is through the savings account that I'm also building with Magnolia's Mother's Trust. I chose the option where I receive $700 each month and then $3,600 in the savings account at the end of the program. It has been hard to build savings in the past given my income, but I am hoping to keep this account set aside as a real rainy day fund. I'm thankful they also started a 529 savings account for each of my kids as part of the program that will grow and accumulate over time, meaning I'll have something for them when they get older. I don't want my kids to start at zero like I did. I hope someday when my kids talk about me, they also remember how I always showed up for them just like I talk about my dad. Thank you. Hello. She made me cry too. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Okay. My name is Amaya Jones, and I am learning to define by myself who I am and who I want to be, and not just as a mom. I've noticed that when I introduce myself to people, the first thing that I always say is, I'm a mom, of course. I love my kids, and I love being a mother, but I don't want my life to just be defined by that one specific identity. When I'm applying for benefits or have to go to the welfare office, I always feel like I am defined by one thing, money. What I can access and how much support I get is simply defined by my income. If I make just one penny over the limit, I'm cut off. But at that same time, people make all sorts of assumptions about me, about my character, my work ethic, and who I am as a person, just because how much money I make. I understand things being income-based, but it seems like there's no one trying to understand what else is going on in my life or what I truly might need. Take, for example, when my daughter was born, I was a student at Jackson State working toward my degree in forensic chemistry. I was so close to being done, but I had to put those plans on hold to take care of my daughter. I was trying to put her in daycare so I can get a full-time job, and I applied for a voucher to support with those costs. The application was complicated enough, but to add to it, they had many restrictions, requirements, and documentations, and it just seems to get worse.
At that time, I wasn't able to receive the voucher until I put my child's father on support. He had to be in the system for her to even go to school. I knew that was something that he was not going to be able to afford simply because we were just 19. But that didn't mean that he wasn't a great dad. But all they were looking at was the money. I also had to prove that my income was low enough to qualify for the vouchers. I already was living in low-income apartments, and I had provided a ton of financial documentation. Was that enough proof? But I had to do it all over again. And then I had to prove that I worked this amount or a certain number of hours just to qualify. But no one was considering that I needed a child care voucher to even go back to work. I couldn't work 25 hours each week with no child care just to eventually qualify a month later after they processed my paperwork. What I needed in that moment was simply a listening ear without the judgment. I needed someone to help me find a job or someone who could connect me with counseling service or even just a group of moms where we could support each other. Instead, I sat in the welfare office where I didn't even feel like anyone I interacted with recognized me as a human, only money or simply my income or how I looked. They have since removed the child support requirement from the child care assistance application, and I did have a much easier time applying after I had my son last year. But I still think our systems are set up to only see us as our income or just a statistic, and the system is not as a full human being. Even right now, DHS is making budget cuts to the child care vouchers, and with the strict criteria, I won't be able to recertify this year or to even receive any more assistance after July. People will wait in line for hours at the DHS office just to get to the front of the line and find out that the person that they're waiting to see is not at work and you have to come back another day. All the applications, or most of them, are digital now, and I know a lot of elderly people are there when I go in, so I know that may be a little complicated for them as well. But all the communication we get from DHS, most of mine comes by mail, and it takes sometimes 7 to 10 days to even receive that. There isn't enough training in the building or security. I'm always worried that some of my benefits or simply my information or my children's information could be stolen, which has happened multiple times. I am tired of only being defined as other people see me, a mom, someone in low-income housing, or just someone who's receiving benefits. I'm much more than that. My income does not determine my character, and my role as a mother does not mean I cannot care for myself. I want to start being seen as a whole person with my own needs, dreams, and goals. I want to start defining who I am for myself and by myself. I want to be defined as someone who tries. Yes, I will fail sometimes, but I also want to be seen as someone who tries, simply with every aspect of my life, because of course, it's my life. I work hard in my job as a cake decorator, and I get to make beautiful desserts for my customers every day. I am someone who shows up for others 100% and make sure they know there is someone who loves them, because we all need a little love. I am really good at science, and I always have been. I recently applied to go back to school, and I am furthering my degree. I probably need to cut down my work hours, of course, and there will be some great challenges along the way. But I want to try to be a great mother, a great student, a great friend, and a great employee. I want my children to know that they are not defined by where they live or a singular role in their life. And I think with support, anything is possible. I was raised in a single-parent household. It was my mom, my 3 sisters, and me. But it was always a household filled with love. I used to be jealous of my friends with 2-parent households, but sometimes they often wanted to be me. My mom drove a school bus for a living, but she almost always took us along on the route, and it was fun. When she drove for field trips, we would get to go along for free. It was how she made sure we got to get out and see more of the world around us. She was busy, but she always made sure that she made time for us, even if she had to fit it on the bus, which was all right with us. She made sure we always kept our hair done so that when we left the house, we were looking like someone. She would tell us when we were wrong and kept us in line, as a mother should. She was committed to building me up as a person, a whole person, and not just defined by one part of my life, even though I am the baby. It was simple, but she made sure every day was full of love and light. And that's the same thing I try to model for my children. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I was homeless for a time. But my mom told me that at the end of the day, the doors are always open. You can always come home. I always had someone to take care of me, and I want to be that person for my kids. She will always see me for who I am and not just by one thing. I hope as my children grow older that they will know that too. On my hardest days, all I need is just a little hug from them, and that's the kind of love you can't find anywhere else. You know my story, but I don't know yours, so I'm still sending you love and light. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Can you all hear me since I'm so tall? My name is Joni Whitehead. I'm a mother of 2 teenage girls, one who is graduating this spring and getting ready to head off to college. I have spent my career caring for children in preschools, daycares, bus monitoring, you name it, I've done it. I would often take my daughters with me to work as they were growing up. So they both learned a lot about working with children and grew to love it. My oldest daughter is planning to attend Mississippi Valley State University next fall to study early childhood education and someday own her own daycare. I believe I helped inspire her to take this path. I also had dreamed about setting up my own daycare one day, especially for moms who work overnight or struggle to find somewhere safe and reliable. But a lot has changed for me over the past few years. In March of 22, I slipped and had a bad fall. I went to the doctor to get my injury checked out, and they did an x-ray on my ankle. It turned out I had cracked it in 2 spots and ended up needing to be in a boot for 8 weeks. The doctor grew concerned about the seriousness of the injury and ran some other tests thinking something else might be going on. They ended up finding a spot on my brain and in my spine. So immediately they referred me to a neurologist and started a care plan for me. The neurologist had to run more tests to try to figure out what was going on. But eventually in the fall of 23, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, or MS. While they were running the first stages of my test, and early on after my diagnosis, I was able to work on and off depending on how I was feeling. But I have not been able to work since May of 2024. My whole right side of my neck all the way down is constantly hurting. My girls have to help me take baths and get dressed some mornings. I can't walk for long periods of times. I've tried physical therapy, but it makes me hurt so much more. So I'm struggling to exercise like I would like to. My mobility and memory have really felt challenged for the past few years. I received my diagnosis pretty soon after I had started the Mother's Trust. This was a huge relief for me because I didn't have to worry as much about my bills or depend entirely on my mom and my dad to support me as I was first trying to figure out what was going on. They have been a huge source of support for me throughout everything, and I'm grateful for all of their help. But those 12 months of receiving a guaranteed income was truly a lifesaver. I had tried to apply for disability back in 22 when I first got hurt, but since I didn't have an official diagnosis at the time, I was denied. I reapplied after receiving my diagnosis when my pain and mobility limitations became so extreme that I could not work at all. I had to get a lawyer involved to help with the process this time. I'm finally in the final stages. I had hoped to be approved by the time of the Magnolia's Trust Fund ended in 2024. But at that time, I still was denied. I had my appointment with the disability office at the beginning of this year, but I'm still waiting to hear back from them. It feels like everything is always still pending and still in process. In many ways, I'm still trying to adjust to the new reality and the challenges of having a condition like MS, especially a mother it is hard to go from being the caretaker of all the time and needed to be cared for. I am used to being there for my girls and doing so much for them. Now, I'm the one who's being taken care of. Therapy has been helpful, but I am still learning how to cope. I will sometimes meditate or try to watch funny things on TV to keep me upbeat. I'm doing my best to take it day by day. But it's not just the pain and limitations that have me challenging. Being sick is so expensive. I have to take 5 pills every day. One of those is dalfampridine, or the walking pill. This medication costs $1,100 for just a 90-day supply, even with receiving Medicaid. I get really concerned when I see all the cuts they're proposing to federal funding and especially to Medicaid. I have no idea how I will afford my medication if they cut back my benefits or what they may cover with this prescription. I wish our programs and policies took the needs of mothers with disabilities of any form more seriously. My diagnosis doesn't mean that my dreams for myself and my girls are gone. I still want to own my own home. I want to make sure my girls go to college and pursue their dreams. I want my girls to get to see other places around the country and the world and know more than just Mississippi. One of the best parts of the Magnolia Must Trust was having that little bit of extra to get to do things. Even though we were dealing with our medical bills, we were able to go to the movies, get our hair done, and nails done. We even took a trip to Atlanta and got to do some sightseeing. It was the first time I didn't feel like all my funds had to go towards my bills. I want to keep providing those experiences for my girls because we deserve them also.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amber Moore. I am a mother of 3 beautiful children with a 4th baby girl on the way. I am a daughter, a sister, and someone with big dreams for myself and for my children. My family is also important to me. For as long as I can remember, I have felt like I was the backbone of the family, trying to keep everyone together. But this also means that I often put my own dreams on the back burner. Sometimes I feel like I am faced with a choice. Do I want to make my life great, or do I want to be there for my family? I don't know how to not help people when they are in need, especially when it's my own family. But I worry that by being there for others, I'm also letting my own children down or even letting myself down. This has become very challenging with my dad. He is starting to get up in age and is experiencing more and more health issues. On top of that, he has lost many of the people that he loves, including his sisters, who were really close to him. Now, as my siblings and I are investing into our own families, he feels like his children are leaving him too. We all try to do what we can and care for him, but it is not always easy. One of my sisters had her own health scare not too long ago, and she had to have surgery. She is not able to work at the time, and I'm also trying to help her apply for disability, but that takes a lot of time and work too. My other sister and I both work, and it is challenging to take off time when we need to care for our dad when needed. A few weeks ago, my dad went into the hospital on a Thursday. My sister, who is supposed to be prioritizing her own recovery, had to go with him. It turned out to be a case of food poisoning. My dad got some fluids, and the doctor told him that he just needed to let the food poisoning run its course. But that night, he called me at 1 a.m., wanted to go back to the hospital because he was still feeling sick. I am currently pregnant, and I have 3 other children at home that I am caring for as well. I reminded him of what the doctor said, but he didn't think that was enough. He ended up calling the ambulance, and when the EMTs came out, they told him the exact same thing. There was nothing seriously wrong with you, and took care of everything that he needed. The ambulance did not even take him to the hospital at that time. Stubborn as he is, he still insisted the next day my sister Ashley take off work to take him to the doctor. He wanted to go to a Pacific doctor. At the time, we just didn't understand what was going on. After a few days of this, we finally found out that he had not been completely honest with us about his health with us. But once we knew what was going on, we were able to get the medication that he needed, which helped him feel better physically and mentally. Every day, I am grateful to have a positive ending to stories like these, but I know situations like this will continue to arise, especially as my dad continues to age. I have been looking into ways to become an official caregiver for him, but it is also a complicated process. As of now, my sister is enrolled in some classes that will give her some more medical training and get a certified nursing assistant or medical assistant license come May. I also want the skills needed to be a better caregiver for my father. Also, after I deliver my baby in July, I have some time off afterward to care for her. I will be enrolling in the phlebotomy program to get my phlebotomy license as well. My current job will also be willing to give me accommodations and more flexibility for my family medical leave if I could get the documentation to be a caregiver. Previously, they did work with me when my son was sick and I needed to take extended time off. They have also been willing to provide supportive accommodations during my pregnancy, like a longer lunch or extra breaks that allow me to rest and take care of my needs during the workday. I'm grateful to have a job that provides these, but in both cases, I had to have the proper documentation. Without the caregiver certification, I could lose my job if I tried to take off work to care for my dad at a drop of a hat. I don't want to have to choose between my job and my dad. And I don't want to have to choose between caring for my family members and taking care of me and my dreams as well. I'm entering into a season where I know I'm going to have to choose myself and my children more. I do what I can to take care of myself, like meditating and practicing yoga sometimes, but I need more than that. People often bring their problems to me, but I haven't always had someone to talk to. I have been through postpartum depression before, and I do not want to go through that again after having my next baby. I need to make sure that I'm okay so that I can be there for my newborn and also my other children as well. I recently joined the Workforce Systems Fellowship with Springboard, which has given me a space to talk about the things that are going on in my life and in my job. It's beginning to be that community of women who can relate to my experience. It's also given me the space to listen to the stories of other women as well. I get to both listen to understand and get to be heard by others as well. I also joined the Springboard's First Lending Circle, where I and 5 other moms contribute each month to a social loan. During those months, one of us gets the full amount of the loan, which I have already received. Our one-time payments every month are reported to credit bureaus, helping us build our credit history too. It's an investment into myself. There's still so much I hope to do. I want to buy a home so that my family has enough space to live and thrive. I want to own my own cafe where I sell pastry and baked goods out front and have a sit-down section to take orders for breakfast and also soul food items at lunch and dinner. I want to build my skills and knowledge to pass down my legacy to my children. I want my children to feel loved, supported, and heard by their mom and provide a role model for them on how to care for themselves and for the people that they love. More than anything, I just need a little bit of grace. And even if no one else is going to give it to me, I will be sure to take it myself. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Weren't all those stories so powerful? Good evening, everyone. I am Aisha Yandora. I'm the Chief Executive Officer of Springboard To Opportunities. It is my absolute honor and joy to introduce someone whose work continues to shape how we think, how we see, and how we imagine what's possible. Dr. Tressie McMillan Cottom is a sociologist, writer, professor, and cultural critic whose voice is as sharp as it is generous. She has an unmatched ability to name the truth with clarity and care, whether she's writing about inequality, technology, beauty, or the everyday experiences that shape Black women's lives. She's a MacArthur Genius Fellow, a New York Times columnist, and the author of Thick, a collection of essays that is required reading for anyone serious about justice, rigor, and nuance. But beyond those accolades, and believe me, there are many, you can Google her, what I value most about Tressie is her deep commitment to people, to community, to not just studying the world, but to work to change it. Tonight, she's not here as a scholar, but as a listener, a question asker, and someone who believes, like we do, in the power of story and the power of narrative to change values. Please help me to welcome the brilliant and bold Dr. Tressie Cottom. I had the honor of sitting down with Tressie a couple of years ago with a bold conversation about what we all deserve. And the conversation was layered with so much possibility, laughter, and joy that I immediately knew I wanted to share her conversational magic with our moms. And with that, I invite them all to the stage.
Thank you for that, Aisha. And thank you, ladies. If we could, just one more time, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Now, I'm usually the teacher, and tonight I'm the student, and I think I still got the juice. So I was sitting there making notes in real time. Yeah, I was making notes in real time. I think I got it down. If I get anything wrong, you know, to charge it to the head, not the heart, but I got the thing. Thank you first again to Aisha, to Springboard, not just for having me, which is a great honor, but for existing, which is a great contribution. I am an enthusiastic supporter of something that y'all said tonight in many, many ways, which is more cash, less paperwork. More cash, less paperwork. I'm serious. That cut through to me. Each of you talked about just the layers and layers of the paperwork, of the appointments, of the interactions to try to navigate all kinds of systems, education, work, the welfare office, TANF, all of that kind of stuff. Some of you spoke to this a little bit, but what has been different about, you see me, what's been different about Magnolia Motherhood? And I knew it was going to be the baby of the family first. I knew it. When she said it, did anybody else go, You did, didn't you? You knew when she said, when Amaya said she was the baby of the family. Okay.
To me, can y'all hear me? Everybody hear me? Okay. To me, one thing that was different, it wasn't as much paperwork. When I first, well, it really wasn't any paperwork.
Okay.
Once I went in, everyone was nice. Let's start nice.
Yeah.
I was greeted. I had just moved into the location, not even a full 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
But no one was, who is she? Where did she come from? What does she have? What can she offer? Does she deserve it? I never had to worry about anything like that. and which was good to me. Everyone there was like me. We all needed something or wanted something, but we weren't afraid to speak up about it. Even the ladies that's not here with me, as a community, as a whole, we all deserve something that we maybe can't get from ourselves, but others are willing to help. And we're not scared to say, I need help. And we watched a few clips. We watched a few of her clips, and some was like, oh, that's a bad woman.
Yeah. It does that. She does that to you, doesn't she? She does it to me too.
So that's what stuck out to me. It wasn't really hard, but we weren't afraid to speak up. And the women who I spoke to beforehand, they weren't afraid to say, I was once you. Yeah. And that was good to me because you were like me, so this where I can be. So I can move on. I can move up. Like right now, this is only a phase. It's only a test. Baby, you can make it from the bottom. You're going to the top. It's only one way up. Yeah. So that's what was good to me.
Yeah, I love that.
For me, it's how much like they actually care. Like they want to hear us and what we feel and what we think and what we've experienced. So just how much they care. Like they fit the things when I care. Like they actually care and we feel heard and we appreciate you all.
Yeah. A lot of y'all talked about being heard, not just from the sort of like leadership, but hearing each other. There's a lot of talk about, I needed to talk to other moms, right? I needed a community. Right. What is that? And I think several of you mentioned that. What does the community of motherhood look like for y'all?
Well, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Well, for me, I have a very good support system for my family.
I love it.
I'm not, being arrogant or anything, but I did grow up with my mom and dad. But just being a mom by myself, doing it by myself and seeing other moms, being encouraged, that helped me too. So.
Yeah.
And just connecting with other moms and realizing like I went through that too, or you can relate to this that I experienced. Like our stories aren't the same, but they're similar in different ways. So just connecting with other mothers and not feeling alone.
Yeah.
Just to piggyback off what they said, we had this missed retreat recently at my apartment complex. And the thing that stood out to me when I left, the first thing I said was, who am I outside of being a mom? And that's what the other ladies, all of us was talking about it, and the lady kept saying, who are you? And everyone kept saying, I'm a mom. So she said, who are you outside of being a mom? Stop telling us that. So in the community, I started talking to more people, or even in the group chats, they encourage us to work well with one another. So little stuff, some days we send out inspirational messages. I hope you have a good week. I hope this. It's just that little. Like I have sisters. It was just me, my mom, and my sisters. But my sisters are out of town now. They have kids. So sometimes I'm in my little hole. Like she said, I went through postpartum as well, really bad. I think I'm still dealing with it a little bit.
Yeah.
But the thing is just to hear that I'm not alone, because that's a big thing to say that I'm dealing with postpartum. A lot of people hide it. That was major for me. So just to know that, well, I just had a baby, I'm going through the same things. Like say for instance, oh, well, I have baby stuff. You need, oh, girl, I got that. That's fine. Right. Yeah. So that's what's good to me. It's like a sisterhood, even if we're not blood. We have each other. So that was good to me.
Yeah, the group chats. The group chats are popping.
Oh, they right. Group chats off the chain.
Okay,
group chats off the chain. And just to piggyback off of what they said, it's just having that that person that can be there to listen and not listen to speak, listen to understand.
Oh, that's a big difference.
Because sometimes us, as we go through things, as far as being a mother, sister, aunt, whatever it can be, sometimes we just want to be heard and not judge based on what is being said. Not saying that I do not have the support system, but, different people in different minds do not think alike. So by me sharing my experience with someone, as far as either my sister or my brother, they cannot, be that emotionally intelligent to understand where I'm coming from. Right. So it's just being in a space where people like me that has the same emotional intelligence can understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Emotional intelligence is a great word, by the way, because
Yes.
all of you displayed a high degree of emotional intelligence. And it struck me as I was keeping track of all of the people y'all were taking care of. So I'm going to name a few because I think understanding, my mom always told me when I was growing up that if you give a woman $5, you just probably fed a family. Yeah. All right, we got, of course, your kids, but we've got your respective dads, your parents, your sisters, your brothers. Some of you mentioned the care you do for people at work as part of your work. We got daycare teachers, the people who make it possible for other women and mothers to work, by the way. Shout out to all of the child care professionals in this country who don't get enough of our respect or pay. So thank you for that work and for producing 2 more. Yes. By the way, they're going on college and producing more. Look at you, all right? So we appreciate that. You're dealing with aging, your own health choices, but also the health consequences of the people that you love and you care about. How has the community and the structure of the Magnolia Motherhood helped you take care of the people who clearly need y'all so much?
I'm currently in the Magnolia's Mother's Trust, so that extra money, and at one point in time, it's the only income that I'm receiving right now until I find me a job. So it's a big help because you don't want to always have to contact somebody because people have their own lives going on, and you don't want to put your burdens on.
Feel like you're burdened.
Yes. So, and emotional, like they told me plenty of times because I'm going through postpartum right now currently, and they told me anytime if you just need us to watch your kids for a couple of hours or just the little things, like if you need anyone to talk to, like they just care, like, and it feels good to have that because everybody doesn't have that. So
yeah. I see you. I see you over there, Mike.
For me, the trust has helped me mentally because, just being in the group, not just the money alone, being in the, back to the group chat. It was like, I don't know if it was 1 or 2 weeks ago, I honestly did not have money to get gas. It just, I was down to my last, it was either rent or gas.
Yeah.
So, they posted in the group chat that a church was giving away free gas.
Really?
When I flew to the gas station.
And also, I've never heard of that. Like, shout out to that
I
church.
didn't know about it. So I was able to get some gas, and I was like, "Oh, thank you." And with the money now, my mom has heart failure, so she's in and out the doctor. She doesn't have a car. So one thing I can say, well, Mom, if you can't pay your light bill this month, let me help you.
Right. You
raised me. I had nowhere where to go when I was just pregnant. You allowed me to come here. Thank you. This is my little token of appreciation. Thank you. Let me do that for you. You're not working. You know, she receives disability. She doesn't work. But that's not enough.
Yeah.
You have 13 grandkids. Thank you. And with my house, when I just moved, like I said, I didn't have anything. I was able to purchase a bed for me, my kids.
Yeah.
I have a couch. I'm working on the kitchen table.
But
it's coming. So it's shaping not only my family, but I'm able to do things. I've never had a kitchen table. So that's something for me. Just not, I don't want everything for my mom's side because you need some things. Right. So I'm becoming a woman, and then the little stuff. My baby, oh, Mom, we got a new bed. Thank you. So kids don't see how hard it is. Yeah. But with this, it's like, okay, my daughter doesn't have to worry about, Mom, we eating 4 for $4s again. I don't want a burger, but my last $4. Like, so that's helping me a lot just as a person. It's shaping me, and I'm learning to do things for myself. Like, okay, I can afford to go get your nails done, go get your hair done. This is just something for you, for me. So that is big for me. It's major on doing small things for my home. I'm making my little apartment feel like a home. I'm comfortable coming home, which is good. Like some people are like, well, the apartment is small, but it's big to me. Coming from nothing, it's big to me. So whatever fits me is for me. So that's what made it.
And ain't no place like home. Ain't that
no
right?
No
place like home. That's right.
That's right. There's no place like home. And I know my mom and dad they were ecstatic when I got it because I didn't have to constantly ask them and depend on them. So the gas, like getting my girls back and forth from school, I'm running back and forth from Canton to Jackson. I'm a big help for my mom and my dad and my family. So that's basically it.
Yeah.
And I would just say, I'm not currently a Magnolia's Mother Choice recipient, but I was I'd say about 3 years ago when they first initiated the program. I was probably one of the first moms to be selected into the program. And it has been a difference since it first started. They have a couple of little tweaks that they did as in regards to it. But it was still a good program to, just like if you had dreams that you wanted to accomplish, to get on your feet. Because with that money, I was able to get my LLC for my business that I talked about in my story. So I was able to do like a little test trials on things that I wanted to sell and, just get the customers' feedback on it to see if there's something that I need to change up or is something that I needed to add. So it was a good addition to the income that I already had, and it really helped my mental, calm down, not have to worry about things being paid or anything like that. So it was a really good program, and I hope they continue to keep the program and add on even more things as they continue.
Y'all got that? Y'all got your marching orders there?
That
felt like a pitch from the businesswoman up front. I thank you very much. Everybody was like, just while I'm here, let me make it clear that we would like to expand things. Mm-hmm. I wanted to shout out some of the things that you mentioned and then thank everyone for coming out. I've got everything from investing in your kids' college education with your 529s to owning a home, to starting your own businesses, to going back to college, both for yourself and supporting your kids and going on to further their education. You mentioned doing everything from supporting your parents and your extended care networks with their own health care, navigating all of the complexities that you yourself are also having to navigate when y'all go down and do it. I just want to thank y'all, not just for being great mothers, because that's one thing. Mm-hmm. I want to expand that to talk about all of the mothering you do, because mothering is the way we can take care of lots of things, lots of people, all of that work that y'all do to keep a safety net beneath the people you care about. So thank you for sharing your stories with us, wishing the best for your parents and your kids and for y'all, and thank y'all very much for witnessing the power of their stories. I have one belief, and I want to share it with you tonight, because this is an example of it. Nothing in the history of the world has ever changed the world except a story, and I can prove it to you. Until you believe in something else, you do not act on what you have in front of you. The only thing that has ever mattered is a story. The only thing that is going to continue to matter is which story gets told and which story gets believed, and I hope it's y'all's story for the record. Thanks, everybody.
You.
Thank you for that. I think it deserves that.
All right. Thank you again to our wonderful mothers this evening, and thank you all for being here tonight, for listening with open hearts, for holding space with compassion, and for allowing these stories to move you. What we witnessed tonight goes beyond storytelling. It's truth-telling. That is the amazing alchemy that happens when we create space for, that's right, baby, take up space. You don't have to leave. You're okay. You're okay. It's okay. That is the amazing alchemy that happens when we create voices that are often silenced, when we listen, not to reply, but to understand. To the mothers who shared their stories, your courage and clarity light the path forward in a time where sparks of hope are hard to come by. You remind us what's possible when women are trusted to speak their truths and shape their futures. You are the heartbeat of this work, and I am forever grateful for your vulnerability and vision. And to Dr. Cottom, your insight, generosity often challenges us to think deeper and act bolder, while your style and wicked sense of humor remind us that joy should be infused into everything. Your presence is a gift, and we are profoundly grateful. At Springboard, we believe that stories are more than narratives. They are strategies. They shift policies, they transform perceptions, and remind us of our shared humanity. Most importantly, they empower storytellers to see their own brilliance and boundless possibilities. Because behind every statistic is a person, a mother, a dream, a legacy of strength. Tonight has taught us that our stories hold immense power, not because they're polished, but because they're authentic. Again, thank you to our amazing mothers for being here. Thank you to you all as our amazing supporters. I only have one piece of homework for you this evening. Let's carry forth the truths that we have heard here tonight. Let them not just be stories that we go and share as cute little narratives that we heard at the plant venue. Let them resonate with us and let us recognize that sometimes we have to challenge our perceptions. Sometimes we have to be willing to invite others in. Sometimes we have to be willing to disarm ourselves so that we can create the path forward that we all will benefit from. Let us listen more deeply. Let us be emboldened to act more courageously. And let us keep choosing to trust in ourselves and in each other. Thank you all. We will now move into a reception and mingling. You do not have to leave. We have this place for a whole other hour, so thank you, all right? Please mingle with our moms. Thank them for their brilliance. Mingle with Dr. Tressie. Thank her for her brilliance. And connect with each other. Thank you all so much for sharing your time with us this evening.